Good morning and welcome back to We Don't Camp. Today I'm going to show you some of the basic things that you would need to go camping. This is for someone who maybe has never gone camping before or want to go out with them and another person just to see if it's something they would enjoy. So I'm going to give you what you would need that you don't have to spend a whole lot of money. So I'm just going to lay out everything that I have and then we'll talk about each item one by one. So this is pretty much everything you would need for one night out, two people, and moderate weather. Not too hot, not too cold. Now let's go through each one individually. And I'm kind of going to do it in the order that I would do when I'm arriving at camp. So one of the very first things I'm going to put up is my tent. Now this is what they call a 4-person tent. However, I use it for myself because I like to have a lot of room in the tent that I can put a chair in there, a table and everything. But we don't need all of that because a lot of times you're going to have a bench or something available. And I'm also talking about this in terms of first time out camping, more like glamping. So I'm talking about a facility in which you would have access to running water, to electricity, maybe a bathhouse where you can shower and have a restroom. So that again cuts down what all you would need to bring. But I recommend that for maybe your first time out. So anyway, back to the tents. There are all kinds of tents. You got family size tents, you've got, one-man tents and all. So it's really going to depend on how many people are going with you. And then you also need to look at the tent in terms of what the season is. Are you going out in the winter or are you going out in the summer or spring? So that makes a difference as well. But we'll get into that in some future videos. Once I get my tent set up, the next thing I typically try to do is I'm going to set up my sleeping arrangements. So what I brought for that is simply a mattress. That's a blow up, that I can pump up myself. And then I brought a camp blanket. You can use a quilt. Some people have sheets. You can have a sleeping bag. We're in the South right now. We've been hitting, well, in the last few days, we've been fortunate. We had a cool front, so we're only in 95s. But a sleeping bag would just really be too much in this type weather. So I have a little blanket that I can use to cover up with if I wanted to, but mostly I'm probably going to have a sheet. And that's pretty much what you need for sleeping. Then, of course, I always have me a chair because I want to be able to sit down and relax in between setting up things, but also later in the evening as I'm beginning to relax. And lastly, with the sleeping arrangement, I should have put this in here already. I have a camp pillow. And I use this pillow because I can carry it with me. It can be washed and all. But of course, if you're talking about saving money, bring your pillow from home. It'll do just as well. So now let's shift a little bit. I've got my tent set up. I have my stuff inside. And the last thing I'm going to want in my tent is some type of light source. You can buy these little lights real inexpensively. What I really like about this one is you have a clamp here, so it can be held, it can be put inside the tent and hung up. Some lights will have a fan element with it. I'm trying to do this with one hand, and so it's not working, but you see the hook. Just hang it up. It also has a magnetic component, so depending on how you need to use it. And that would be pretty much it in terms of simple stuff for a tent. Then let's look at food. If you're out there, there's several things you can do. A lot of people are going to buy the stove tops that you use with the propane. It might give you 1 burner, 2 burners, 3 burners. For simplicity and for me to be able to carry things out, especially if I'm not car camping or something, then I simply get me a propane cylinder, such as this. And I'm going to put that with my cookware stuff here. And all that's in here is the burning element itself. And I'm going to open all this up later. And then this is my set of dishes. This includes things for me to cook with, pots, spoons, something to eat out of, and plates. So all of that is compacted here. And of course, you can buy stuff that's much more fancy. And then I also typically are going to bring something like this, stainless steel. Whatever I put in there is going to stay cold for several hours or hot for several hours, depending on what I'm doing. And this is usually my water that I'm going to use to drink with or cook with, make my coffee in the morning. So I also have another stainless steel vessel for drinking out of. This is mostly my coffee cup. I've used it so long, the decorations have come out. But what I like about this is that it also has a top with it, so I can cover it up. Again, this will hold hot beverages for a long time, as well as cold beverages later on in the day. And then lastly, we have a little mini first aid kit, which you're going to need out and about. Just has a few bandages, some aspirins and things like that. And this is just a little set that I put together, but of course you can buy one that's already been put together. And then a cooler to put a few drinks in, a few items of food that you want to keep cool, and also it just kind of serves to help protect whatever you have food-wise. And really, oh, and of course, the tarp. The tarp, I'm setting it up now for demonstration purposes, but you want to use this tarp as a footprint for under your tent. It helps to protect the ground area, give you a little space between the tent and the ground. And also, if the weather should change, turn bad on you or what have you, then you can take this tarp and use it to cover and protect your materials and your camping gear. So now, while it may seem like that's a lot of stuff that I have here on the ground, it's really not, and it's not that expensive. There are several videos out on YouTube where people have gone on these shopping challenges to see if they could get what they need to camp. Some have done it on $50, some on $100. My suggestion is to just take your time, look for what you want. You can go to places like Goodwill, thrift stores, and find some of this stuff that's been used but still in good shape. And of course, you have all of your sporting goods places like Dick's, your REI type camping stores where you can borrow things or rent them for a price and send them back when you're through with it. But if you're thinking at all that this is something you might want to do in the future, go ahead and start purchasing a few items a little bit at a time, and before you know it, voila, you have everything you need. Over the next video, we'll start to show you how to use these things that you've purchased. All right, peace out. Until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, or whatever it is that you do. Bye.